Okay, so now that we've created our variable, which is on the backdrop, I'm going to click on problem 1, and I'm going to write the code. Basically, I want the code to write when this sprite is clicked. So I'm going to use a when this sprite is clicked, and I'm going to need a couple of conditionals. I'm going to get an if then else. And basically, the first part of this code is going to read is if block check is 0, then we need to switch the costume. So I'm going to go to operators. I'm going to drag out a equals to, blank is equal to blank, data, drag one of these block checks, put it in there. If block check is equal to 0. And basically, when block check is 0, this just means that there are no cards selected. Okay? And so if block check equals 0, we want it to switch costume to the back, and we need it to set the block check. And we're going to set it to block check to 1. Okay? Now, block check is only going to be at 0 when there's no cards selected. So we also got to program the else part. And that's basically saying that, when if it's not 0, because at some point in time it's going to be a number, what do we want it to do? So I need another if then else statement. And basically I'm going to code it to say if it's 1, broadcast, we have a match. If it's not 1, broadcast, we don't have a match. And so I will just go to grab another operator, equal. It's almost like I'm writing the same code if block check equals 0. I mean, not 0, I'm sorry, if block check equals 1. Then I want it to do something. So if it's 1, we still want to switch costume to the back. We want to wait 1 second. And this time we're going to use an event and we're going to broadcast a message. We're going to broadcast, I've already typed in my message, match 1. So that means we have a match. And after we get a match, we definitely want to make sure we set block check back to 0, because if we have a match, that means there are no cards selected anymore. So always remember to put this code at the end. So now we need to tell Scratch what to do when we receive match. Well, when I receive a match, I want my sprite to hide. Well, I'm going to put hide, not show, hide. But what happens when it's not 1? Because there's a possibility they're going to select the wrong sprite. Well, that's where this next code comes in. I still want them to switch costume to the back. Still want them to wait 1 second. But this time we're going to use a different broadcast message. I've already created the message. You will need to go to new message, but I've already have mine created, not match. Then I need to tell it what to do when it receives on a match. Well, right here when I receive my match, I just want it simply to change back to switch costume back to the front, not the back. And once again, when we do that, that means we have no block selected, so my block check needs to go back to 0. Okay, and one thing that we need to remember, anytime we tell Scratch to hide or change costumes, we need to always code at the very beginning when we start the game. Then we're going to want the sprites to show, and we're going to want them to switch to costume, not the back, but to the front. Okay, so when I run this code, it should be like that. Now I'm only programmed the first one. My first one for problem 1. My answer 1, the answer to this, the match to this card should have the exact same code. And pretty much all of them are going to use a code similar to this, so I'm just going to copy all of my code into my backpack. Now I'm going to click on answer 1. And it looks like I've already got this on answer 1. Oh, look at this. So that's already coded. I've cheated a little bit. I also have when I receive message 1, that's going to be not a match. I want it to hide. Well, no, when I receive a match, I want it to hide. I'm going to drag out when I receive not a match, I need it to switch crashing to front. So basically, I'm going to show you how this code's going to run, and this might help you understand a little bit. When I click the green flag, it's at 0. I'm going to click on the first one. Now block check is at 1. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my Sprite 2. This is Sprites 2 code. It's not going to run this code right here because when I click the sprite, the block check's not going to be 0. It's already going to be at 1. So it's going to go run this code right here. If it's 1, it's going to switch to the back, and it should hide. If I pick the right one, there we go, and they hit. So that works correctly. Oh, let's not have that. Yep, my show for this one. Don't forget to add your show. That's why it didn't show back up. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to my second sprite for problem 2. So problem 2 and answer 2, these are my two cards. These are they match each other. They should whenever I get them coded or finished. I'm just going to drag all of the code out to it. So it has 4 blocks of code. It has when I receive not a match, hide. When I receive match 1, hide, which we need to change. And when I click the green flag, show, it's just cross-stream to the front. Well, if you think about it, I need to change my block check here. I'm going to, if this sprite is clicked and block check is 0, instead of making it 1, because 1 pairs from these two sprites, problem 1 and answer 1, that they're 1, so problem 2 needs to be a different number. So I'm going to change this to set block check 2. Then I'm going to code it to look for this block check 2. We need to change this broadcast message. We're going to need a new message, and we're going to call it match 2. Makes sense? And now I can go down here and I can change that to match 2. So now all my code should be correct. I don't really care about the not a match because, I mean, if it's not a match, it should still turn back if they're not a match. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this out for number 2 again for my answer for my mate. For the mate of this card, I mean, not a match, yes. So I'm still going to have to go down. I have to change this to match 2. When I receive match 2. Oh, wait, when I receive not a match, sorry, it needs to go to the front. When I receive not a match, so when I receive match 2, it needs to hide. But I still need to change these numbers. If it's 0, set block check 2, block check is 0. Now I'm going to show you how this is going to work. This should kind of give you a little more understanding to it. So when I click the green flag, once again, it's going to check block check to 0. When I click number 1, it checks block check to 1. Now, let me go to answer 2 and find one that's not a mate. So we know this one's not a mate. Well, what's going to happen now is it's going to run this line of code. If block check is 0, well, block check's not 0, so it won't run this first if statement, it'll run the else. So if I click this, it's going to check if block check equals 2, then it's going to display a match. But block check is not 2, it's 1. And since it's 1, it should automatically go down to the second else, and it should just broadcast not a match and go back. And you see they both work. So one thing to remember as you're coding these sprites, we're going to have to go to number 3. I can drag this out, drag out my when I receive match, when I receive not a match, and then green flag is flipped. Well, since this is problem 3, my third, I'm going to change set block check to 3, check to see if it's 3, and then I need to broadcast a new message. I'm going to broadcast new message. I'm going to call it match 3. So now it's going to broadcast match 3. So when I receive match 3, I want it to hide. If you really just want to take this and copy it over to the next one, you should be able just to do that. And it's there. There's another way you can do it. That way you don't have to keep drawing it out or changing those numbers. You don't have to do it anyway. We'll go here. This should be my second block, if I remember correctly. I believe this is going to be, yep, block number 4. As you can see down there, block number 4. So since this is block number 4, we wanted to set block to number 4. If block check equals 4, we're going to broadcast, change this to a new message. We're going to change it to match 4. Okay. I can drag this out. When I receive, nope, it should be match 4. And this, and I can't forget when my green flag is clicked. Then I make sure I have all 4 of those on here. Click the next one. Actually, I'm gonna, so that I'm not wasting all my time, I'm just gonna do this really quick. Number 4. And hopefully they all went to number 4. Yeah, you can see that they did. There we go. So that should work. The last code though, I want to make sure I get the green flag is clicked. Go on to number 5. Click here. I'm going to change this to, I'm going to set it to 5. Just set block check to 0. Yes, but up here, that needs to be 5. We're going to broadcast new message and it's going to match. Make sure I still match right. Match 5. So drag this out. When I receive match 5, hide. If it's not a match, obviously that's what I want to do, and it is. Make sure I have all the code. Yes. And I can just simply copy that on to number 5. That on to number 5. This on to number 5. Click here. I can right click and hit clean up and it'll show me, yep. And I can't forget about this. So that should be it.